welcome to the first ever episode of Holding Court with the Nerd Queens. I'm Cole.
And I'm Nana.
And we're going to be using this podcast to talk about the latest and greatest in nerd news. We'll still be bringing YouTube videos, just not as often as we are not always together outside of traveling.
And we did find out that it's kind of easier to do podcasts for you guys and for us as well. So today we have multiple topics to talk about. First one that we want to talk about a lot is the t-shirt campaign that Zack Snyder helped with his t-shirt design. It's for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and you can still buy the t-shirt. But what we want to talk about is how it actually came to be, and also the fact that it wasn't just Zack's t-shirt that was on sale.
So basically, we have to rewind a little bit to explain how this got started. So basically, back about 3 weeks before we went to San Diego Comic-Con last summer, we were contacted by the Schneider Cut movement. And at the time, we weren't very we were in the movement, but we weren't as involved as we are now. And that's where we met our amazing, incredible buddy, Mick D. And he told us about how they wanted to get as many people in the panel, in the DC Warner Brothers panel at Hall H, wearing I Heart ZS shirts as they possibly can. So one conversation led to another, and by the time we left for San Diego, we had boxes of t-shirts waiting for us at the hotel. And so,
well, just to correct this a little bit, sorry to jump into it, but to be honest, this all happened while I was on the plane. Cole doesn't give herself enough credit, but I kind of got off the plane and was told that there is a project that we are a part of, which I was, of course, excited for, but I had no idea. This happened literally within, 6 hours I was on the plane?
Yes, from being contacted on Twitter to the conversation to working with the team to get all the money together to buying the shirts. By the time Nana had landed in America, it had been brought together. And so when she landed, I had a lot to tell her at that point.
It was kind of like the whole year went quite silent, and then I am on a plane, I land, and there's a whole bunch of news from San Diego Comic-Con, and on top of that there was a whole bunch of news from Cole about the whole campaign and the t-shirts and everything. So my first reaction was like, geez, I was on the plane for 6 hours, but it was great. We had a week left till the con, and there was so much to do, but we managed to do it. And that's how the first part of the campaign kind of came to be. Though at the very beginning, the point wasn't to get a charity campaign. That came later. And the t-shirts had a really big part in it. So yeah, so we'll link our YouTube video about how the rest of that adventure went, but what Nana was leading up to is the fact that we were literally laying on our air mattress, camping out with our buddies for Hall H line the next day, and people on Twitter and on social media who weren't at San Diego Comic-Con kept asking us about, like, where can I buy this shirt? And so, and obviously you couldn't buy it.
Yes, so because we had them.
We were thinking about it. We were just trying to, because you got a whole bunch of people suddenly who are really interested in this, and it's nice to see that there actually was interest all over the world. And in that moment, I was like, why don't we just? Well, not why don't we just, but what could we do? Could we actually get these t-shirts to sell online? And for example, the profit of them go to American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And we started brainstorming what we could do with it. And that's kind of how the idea was born. But it didn't go through until weeks and weeks later, I believe, no?
No, it didn't, because we sat down with Mick and we told him the idea, and he told some other people in the tops of the Schneider Cut movement, and then he spoke with Zack himself to get permission to do this in honor of his family and his daughter. And so it took a few weeks, but Mick and I researched different charities, and we found Ink to the People. So since the first shirt campaign, which was I Heart ZS, which is inspired by the shirt that Ray Fisher had, it slowly we started adding more shirts to the charity campaign. There was a design by Ramesh De Silva that says Hope Lives, and it's a picture of a silhouette of Superman holding someone as if he just saved them. There was a
really great shirt, by the way. Do we still have some sort of a link to it? Can we link it below the podcast somewhere?
I'm going to be linking the image because you can no longer buy the shirt.
Oh, yeah, true.
But there was also designs by other artists that were in the movement. There was one that was done in honor of Fiona, who, if you don't know Fiona, she is the one who started the Schneider Cut movement. And this all culminated towards Zack getting excited about it and working with his designer, and next thing we know, we have the incredible shirt that's called All the Gods.
Yes, so there has been months coming up to this shirt. Before, obviously, the amount of money that were raised by Zack's t-shirt, which obviously is the biggest amount of money. I think currently it stands on like $57,000. There was another about $8,000 that was raised thanks to the other shirts that got sold.
The $8,000 was raised by the movement across the past year. So not just the shirts.
Oh,
but
sorry.
The shirts were a big
corrected.
part of that.
Yeah, so there has been a certain amount of money already before that, though the campaign didn't get enough traction, obviously, until Zack stepped in. But yeah, that's how it came to be. That's basically what happened prior to all this.
Yeah, from one sweaty evening spent just talking to Zack publishing his shirt, it's been definitely a wild ride to be a part of, and we're really happy for everything that we've been able to help contribute to such an amazing cause.
Yes, it's been an amazing journey, and we're excited to see what comes next. If there is any other idea or another project to do, I just hope that it won't happen on during the time that I'm on the plane again.
So
anyway, let's move on. Let's move forward to another news in our book.
So the next piece we have to talk about is that the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer was released, and that was first dropped on Facebook and on YouTube thanks to Marvel. And we will link the trailer down below in case you live under a rock and you haven't seen it yet.
Which we highly doubt. But so we're curious. What are your opinions about the trailer? My personal one, I am excited about the film. I'm excited for multiple reasons. One of them is that shooting locations. It was shot in London, but it was also shot in Prague. And this tiny town of Liberec, which is also in Czech Republic. And my uncle's he lives there. So I know the town a bit. So I'm really excited to see some sort of familiar location in the film. I'm also excited because I enjoy this Spider-Man. I enjoy Tom Holland's Spider-Man a lot. But in the same time, I feel like maybe they could have waited with the trailer just a bit, maybe after the end game. But this is just me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, because there was a few spoilers. I mean, like, when you watch the Endgame trailer, you realize, okay, well, that means this person and that person's going to survive Endgame, but we're not going to say it out loud in case you didn't pick up on that, so you haven't been spoiled. But my brother, who's a diehard Spider-Man fan, I think he's been a fan since he was like 5 years old. he has loved every single incarnation of Spider-Man, but Tom Holland is his favorite. And he's really excited for this film. He was pointing out things to me that I didn't even catch. Things like that they're actually showing Mysterio's face for once. I think that has something to do with the fact that it's Jake Gyllenhaal who's playing Mysterio. You know, they get someone handsome. They're not going to just put the fishbowl on his head the whole time.
Makes sense, I suppose. Yeah.
But it definitely looks interesting, and I like the idea that he's kind of like, well, I don't want to take Spider-Man with me to Europe, and it'll be interesting to see the different places he goes to. My brother and I were actually analyzing the poster that they released that shows different passport stamps, and you can get an idea of where they're going to go from that poster.
See, I'm kind of curious, though, Spider-Man, his main domain is New York. So how will he kind of keep his secret identity when he appears out of nowhere in all these locations where, you know, Peter's class is taking a school trip? That is going to be kind of interesting. That I like. I'm curious about that. I really am.
It will definitely be interesting to see. I think that if the class is clever enough, they might realize, oh wait, one of us are Spider-Man, but we'll have to see the movie to be able to.
I mean, like at this point, with this knowledge, it kind of, you know, almost screams, you know, that, you know, he's one of them, probably. It's kind of like the whole Clark Kent perception with glasses at that point to me. But we'll see. It'll definitely be interesting how they go around that, I think.
I was just happy to see Aunt May, that she's okay.
Yeah.
Peter doesn't need to lose any more parental figures.
But, you know, you wanted to avoid spoilers. Anyway,
so we also learned this week that Fantastic Beasts has been delayed. Fantastic Beasts 3, excuse me.
Yes, well, it hasn't been officially confirmed that it's been delayed, but according to Den of Geek or Screen Rant and various other media, the production of the third prequel to Harry Potter series, technically speaking, has been delayed. That probably 99% means that also the release date has been delayed, because the delay is about 6 months or so. Basically, there wouldn't really be time to finish the film, or logically speaking, there probably wouldn't be time to finish the film. Obviously, there are the speculations about what exactly is the reason behind this. Some people say that there is a change in there has to be change in the script. Just basically that changes have to be made, given that the second Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, weren't such a success. I personally liked Crimes of Grindelwald a lot.
So did I.
I think that the main issue we are facing here would be that a lot of people they just put it, you know, they just kind of look at it in a wrong way, because we don't really have any books to go by. We don't really know how this is. Well, we know how it's going to end ultimately, but we don't know what journey leads us to it, and we can't really predict it. And I think that it puts some fans into uncomfortable position. Obviously, there are mishaps like McGonagall.
McGonagall being mentioned in the film.
Logically explained, but with the rest, I kind of choose to believe JK that she's just going to kind of fit it into the story. And
I like to think she has a plan, and we'll find out the plan as we go along. We've still got, how many movies did they say are going to be in the entire series?
I think that was 5.
Yeah, so we still have time to learn, to figure out all these little plot holes people are pointing out.
Yeah, but it would be a shame if, you know, the not so big success put the Fantastic Beasts on a wrong track and the series got cancelled, or cut off earlier than it should be, because I think that we would miss out on a lot.
We definitely would. And like you said, as we were just discussing this, that we haven't had any real official sources yet. So we're still waiting on word from Warner Brothers and, of course, JK herself. So we can always hope that those are rumors. She doesn't always come out to debunk rumors when they come up. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, there's also the fact that even if it's delayed, it happens all the time. I mean, Wonder Woman has been delayed to June 2020. So the delays are not so uncommon for these big production films, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. It just means, there's a whole bunch of factors going into this, from commitments of the actors to actual script changes or other stuff that needs to be done. So I wouldn't really think that the potential delay in release of Fantastic Beasts 3, whatever the name's going to be, is a bad sign.
It just means we have to wait longer, and that hurts my soul. But it'll be okay.
It keeps me alive just a little bit, with all the plot twists and everything. But I'm fine.
The world's burning around you, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's literally like that. Yeah.
So we also wanted to talk about the new Shazam teaser that was released. There was a rumor that a trailer was going to be released this week, but alas, this rumor was not seen through. But we did get a teaser, and the teaser was pretty cool, actually. I think my favorite part was seeing Billy Batson transform as he jumped off a building.
Yeah, I did enjoy that meme also, with how Thor handles electricity and how Shazam handles electricity.
Yeah, there was a hysterical meme going around from one of our friends of showing Thor in Ragnarok not doing too well when being electrocuted, and then showing how Billy says Shazam and he gets shocked by lightning, and he does pretty well. He ends up flying, so at least we have that sort of little detail. We know he's going to figure out flying in the movie.
Now, obviously, that was a joke for all the Marvel fans. No
shade. It was just a joke.
Yes, literally, it was just a joke. But yeah, Shazam looks a lot of fun. I am excited to see it. It's been
really interesting on Twitter to watch people comparing frame for frame how the director is been using Man of Steel for a lot of his inspiration. There's a lot of frames where he's literally copied what Zack did, and apparently he did that on purpose because he's a huge fan and appreciates Zack for heading up the DCEU. So it'll be interesting to see other tributes he does as we go forward. Also, my personal thing that I really, really love is that you see the logos from the other heroes everywhere, like merchandise and shirts and Time magazine. It's so cool.
My personal favorite is that Funko that was hinted at, and which Zachary Levi himself showed of Shazam. I need that Funko.
Yeah, he said
just throwing it out there.
On his Instagram, he said that Funko will be available in March. So keep your eyes open. I know I will be. But
well, at least it probably means it's not going to be some super special exclusive that it's really hard to get your hands on, which is a good news for many people, I'd say. I don't think we'll be as lucky as we were last year with getting a slot for Funko booth. So, at San Diego.
Yeah.
So it's good that
it's good that we can just go to the store and buy a Shazam, hopefully. And I'm sure as we get closer to March, we're going to hear more Funko exclusives. Hot Topic usually has exclusives when different comic book films come out, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye out for.
They did release just recently with Game of Thrones coming up. They released some Funkos for London Toy Fair, which happened. It's actually happening this weekend, I believe. And there's Daenerys or Night King or Tyrion or Jon Snow, obviously, sitting on the Iron Throne.
So basically, you get to show which side you support, but when you get that Funko, and it's definitely interesting because it's showcasing the 4 contenders. I don't remember if Cersei was involved. I don't think she was.
Oh, Cersei's there as well.
Oh yes, she was. Okay.
Yeah, Cersei's there as well. What I'm kind of sad about is I really appreciate Sansa as well, but they don't have her. Anyway, we kind of went off from Shazam that way.
Sorry.
So should probably
well, keeping on with the Game of Thrones, we did get that trailer. Not that trailer, that clip with Game of Thrones, where we see Sansa and Daenerys meeting for the first time, and it's a moment of, you can tell there's a little tiny bit of respect, but you can also tell that it's like this might turn into a girl fight, and it'll be kind of hysterical if it does.
Yeah, it seems to be heading in that direction. We also got that teaser where Jon, Sansa, and Arya are walking down the Stark
burial ground.
Yeah, and they approach themselves, basically. So there has been hints on the last season of Game of Thrones, which we are excited for as well. It'll be interesting spring. We didn't even mention Captain Marvel or Avengers Endgame yet properly, but there's really not much to report on that side.
No, except for the fact that we're all just waiting eagerly for everything to come out. People are pretty surprised that the Endgame tickets haven't gone on sale yet, but we'll have to wait and see. Someone else pointed out that with Infinity Wars, the tickets went on sale literally down to the exact day, 30 days before the movie. So that sounds reasonable enough, but it's probably going to be a lot like a Hunger Games situation where if you don't move fast enough, you're not going to get the ticket.
Well, for America, maybe. I think I'll be fine over here in the UK. At least I was in the past. I mean, even with Star Wars, which was like the most crowded cinema situation I've ever seen. There was a queue when we actually got to the cinema, but buying the tickets, I bought it a few days after the release of the tickets, and we were still all right.
Well, that's lucky for you. The rest of us will have to battle it out like gladiators in Rome.
What do you mean the rest of you? There's like 300 million of you in America, you know? You don't make up for the whole world?
I know, I was just making a joke, silly.
Well, I'll take it this time.
So I think that's all we've got for news. So
I think that's about what covers for this first podcast for this first week. But you guys can let us know what you would like us to talk about. What do you think we should pay more attention to? Since this is kind of just a start off for everything.
It's the maiden voyage.
Yeah.
So let us know what you're interested in hearing and what you'd like us to talk about. And also,
definitely check out the links that we add. Definitely check out the link for Zack's t-shirt if you didn't do so yet. If you do purchase the t-shirt, which is connected to his original vision of his DCEU, you can do it now. You can help a good cause. Again, all the profit goes to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So that is a really something to think about. So definitely check out that link. And there will be more links about what we talked about, and just give us your thoughts.
Okay. But thank you guys for listening and for joining us on our first ever podcast.
And we will hear you later.
Bye.
Bye.